Right now, it's Winnipeg Jets defenseman Haydn Fleury joining us here on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Haydn, good morning. Your backdrop is better than my backdrop, better than Nezzy's backdrop, and better than Dave's backdrop. But welcome to the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me, guys.
It's our pleasure. First of all, congratulations. It was last week, about maybe about 40 minutes from now, that the news came out over the wire that you had re-signed with the Winnipeg Jets. So, sort of walk us through that decision. We know that you spoke highly about your time in Winnipeg and you spoke positively about it at season's end. But, why did you decide to sign the contract when you did, so close to the start of unrestricted free agency?
Yeah, I think, when it really came down to it, and both when we were getting close, it came together really fast. And, they're just talking with my wife and, my family about, the positive experience we had. And, my wife and I really enjoyed our time there. And I think a lot of that has to do with, how the organization treats us. And I think just the guys in the room, you've heard of all these stories about, Florida and, how they really enjoy like being in the rink, being at the rink and, being in that dressing room. I think that's kind of something that Winnipeg's building and we have in our dressing room. So that was, getting down to it, that was, what I wanted. I never wanted to leave, and glad we could come to, something where both sides felt was right.
Haydn, before I ask you a hockey question, whereabouts are you right now, and where are you going to be spending the majority of your summer this offseason?
I live in Sherwood Park in the offseason, just outside Edmonton. So, we've had some tough rain this past couple of weeks, so it's nice to get outside and, enjoy some weather.
Can you send some of that rain out west or out east to Winnipeg? Because we haven't had a drop of it, and we definitely need some.
We've had so much. It's been nuts, but looks like it's clearing up in the next couple of weeks here. We're going to get some hot summer heat.
And do you get back to Saskatchewan a lot in the summer as well? I imagine you still have family there.
I haven't. I actually should. My parents just moved back last year officially. So I haven't been back in a while since my brother was in the Memorial Cup. A lot of my family lives in Alberta now. So
okay,
not too much family back in Sask.
I wanted to ask you about last year because obviously, you spent some time in and out of the lineup. I think I checked, you played 39 regular season games and then you were able to play 8 more games in the playoffs. Like for you, how would you assess your season overall?
For me, I thought it was a really good year. I think the situation I was in coming out of last summer, signing a 2-way, not really knowing, what team I was going to be on. Was I going to be one of the older guys on the Moose, or was I going to be a depth guy on the Jets? And it's kind of had some bounces go my way early in training camp with a couple injuries to Stan and Billy, and just thought I took advantage of an opportunity given to me and started off the year well. I think, the whole team starting off 16-1, I think everybody's, the vibes were high. And then once Sammy got hurt, I thought I stepped into another opportunity and I thought I played really well. And the injury at Christmas time hurt. I think that took a while. It kind of set me back a little bit, and then came back after the injury. I think didn't play my best. I thought I was off. My knee was still bothering me a little bit, and then came home on bye week. Got right into the gym with my trainer that I use in the summertime, and we put in a good hard week's work, and saw my treatment guy, and kind of just tried to get back to feeling myself and feeling right and feeling strong. And I thought that showed post All-Star break. I thought I played some of the best hockey I have in my career.
Hayden, got to ask about the Manitoba Miracle because we know what it felt like up above, but from your perspective, I mean, do you still think about that game because it seemed to just resonate? And I mean, it's not often games have a name, like Manitoba Miracle, so associated with them. What's your feeling even now thinking about it?
Yeah, I think, oh man, I don't even know. It still comes up in my feed every once in a while where you'll see and I'll still click into it just to see it. Cause it was crazy. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know if there's words to explain it, but no, it's unbelievable. I think that's just a testament to the group we have in our room. I think there was never any quit. I think there was probably times where everybody had written us out, and I think you just look at guys just stepping up. Like, there was, seeing from an outside source, all the talk about can Fetz make the next jump, and he did that with flying colors, and I think you're only going to see him get better. And I think just for the group in general, there's no quit. It starts with Laus, it starts with JMO, Bucky, Scheif. I think the leadership right on down. It's just such a tight knit group, and we didn't want that our season to end like that. And it took all of it. Took a couple overtimes, but we finally got it done.
Haydn Fleury, Winnipeg Jets defenseman, is our guest on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Haydn, you spoke about the leadership group. You spoke about the tight bond within the room. Free agency has sort of come and gone, and of course, there's going to be new players. In particular, one who's also got a pretty good nickname in Captain Serious, Jonathan Toews. I guess when you bring in a player like Jonathan Toews, with his pedigree, with his reputation, with his history of winning, into your dressing room, what does that do for you as a player? Do you feel that sort of level of excitement when you see a guy like that getting dressed next to you on a day in, day out basis?
Yeah, for sure. I think once that signing got announced, I was like, it's crazy. I think growing up as a kid in Canada, I think you probably played mini sticks and imagine yourself as Jonathan Toews, or scoring the goals at World Juniors, or winning the cups with the Blackhawks. So just really excited to get to know him, really excited to play with him, and just learn from him as best I can. I think I watched the press conference yesterday, and I think Arnie alluded to everybody just excited to be in the same room, same presence as him, and just learn as much as you can from him, and go to battle with him. I think that's a big addition to our team. I think it'll just be something where once everybody gets back and everybody's healthy, I think it'll make our team that much better.
Haydn, you mentioned earlier when Dylan Samberg went out of the lineup, you replaced him on the second pair, and we've talked about a lot on this show the strength of the Jets on the left side D with yourself and Josh Morrissey and obviously Samberg. And I wanted to ask you what you've kind of learned from those other two guys on the left side, because I think you'd agree this past year maybe Dylan Samberg is not he's not an unknown player anymore. I think people around the league are starting to realize that this guy is a bona fide shutdown defenseman.
Yeah, he's a stud. There's no words. There's nothing else I can say about him. He's a stud. I think the Jets kind of kept a secret around the league for a couple of years. I didn't know much about Sam before I got here, and getting on the ice with him in training camp, I saw it right away. And yeah, he's just he's really athletic. He's really big. He takes up a lot of ice. He's sneaky good on breakouts, making like these subtle little like juke plays where you think a guy has him, and then all of a sudden Sammy's out of it and he's hitting the middle guy. And I think just the skating ability, the athleticism, I think it all just comes into a package with a guy that's also 6'4", and I don't know how much he weighs. I don't want to say something too high, so
just say 200 plus, Haydn.
Yeah, we'll say 2+. But no, I think the sky's the limit for him, and I wouldn't be surprised somewhere down the line he's representing the States on the biggest stage.
Well, you mentioned the States, and that's of course where you played most of your hockey career, and now you've of course have 1 year in Canada under your belt. From your perspective, Haydn, what's it been like? I know when we spoke to you at the exit meetings, one of the things you talked about was being able to witness the impact of hockey in this community. So from your perspective, what was it like kind of having that chance to play in a Canadian market?
Yeah, I loved it. I think, I think maybe sometimes in my career, not playing in the pressure markets can, maybe lead me astray. I think, your mind isn't really like, your mind can get away from the game, away from the rink. But I think maybe sometimes in the past you take that, take that little sigh, you take that little, I don't even know how to say it, but I think being in Winnipeg, being in a hockey town really kept me, on my toes, and I really enjoyed it. Really couldn't say enough good things about the city and the fans, the ownership. Mark Chipman, I think he's the best owner I've played for, and I played for some really good ones, but he's just such a good person first and foremost, and I'm really really grateful that I get to come back.
Haydn Fleury, our guest on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Haydn, you mentioned, coming back from the injury. You suffered that injury, if I recall correctly, in Toronto, and then you came back, and you said you weren't at 100%. You're playing through the injury. You took the bye week. That's really where you began to feel a little bit better. What's it like playing when you know you're not physically at your peak? When you know that there's something, you're battling through an injury. We hear that a lot. But I don't think, certainly Dave, Ezzy, myself, we don't really appreciate what that means. But from your perspective, how difficult is it to play through an injury and be your best when you know that physically you are battling an ailment?
Yeah, I think it was more mental than anything. I think right from the start, it's mental, and that's something where when you're coming back and you're still not like quite there, it was more the mental side. It was frustrating. That was probably the word I'd say to describe it. I think just the whole situation was frustrating just because where I was at, and then the game before Christmas, I'm flying home after the game. It was just there was a bunch of stuff where it just made it really frustrating. And coming back, I think the thing was I didn't know how close I was until I was actually out there, and then obviously not feeling great and feeling behind, especially for a guy like me that uses my skating so much, made it frustrating. But I think use the bye week as a reset and really got back to it. Came back early to Winnipeg and got back into it. So I think that kind of 2 weeks for the Four Nations break, I thought was a good mental and physical reset, and I think it showed in after the break.
Hayden, I wanted to ask you about Luke Schenn, another guy from Saskatchewan. When we came over prior to the trade deadline, it seemed like he was just a perfect fit for the D-corps. Added that veteran experience, block shots, physical. For you and the other defensemen, like when you found out you were getting Luke Schenn as part of the Jets, like were you guys just all like fist pumping? Like it just seems like he just rounded out the defense so well, and he was such a perfect fit for you guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think the element that he adds, I thought we were maybe missing a touch, just with how big, physical. You mentioned the blocking shots, like on the PK, all that kind of stuff. I thought it rounded out the defense group perfectly, and I thought before you could. Like, I don't even know how to explain this. It just like the what he added, I thought we were missing, and I thought it showed that after the break. I thought whoever played that night, there was going to be a different dimension of what we could throw at teams. I thought I thought after the break everybody stepped up, and in the playoffs we really got into a little matchup type stuff. But I thought we matched up well against other teams. I thought every guy you could sorry, I'm losing my track of thought here. You could match up well against anybody. I think there was everybody complemented each other in different ways, and I think that showed in the playoffs where you could slide up guys up and down pairings and just throw different looks at guys.
Hayden, when we talked to you about, after the Dallas series, I think one of the things you said was, they had more of the big moments than we did. But just from your perspective, when the season ends, and, I remember we were talking to Gabe Velarde, and he was like, I'm still thinking about what happened. Like, guys were asking about the summer, and he's like, I'm still thinking about, the last 3 games we've played and things I could have done better. But from your perspective, are you like ready to go right away and be like, let's move on, or do you need to take some time? Like, do you watch hockey? Did you watch the Dallas Edmonton series at all? What's your sort of process when the season comes to an end like that?
Yeah, so I take a week probably where I reflect on like certain things, and probably it's easy to reflect on the Dallas series. I think for me, like the high sticking penalty in game 4, I think it was the 4-minute high stick. Some people could call it bad luck, but like for me, I'm looking at like I had that puck on my stick basically, and I was gone the other way, and I overskated it, so I have to recover, try and lift his stick, and accidentally hit him in the face and get a 4-minute. So like that's the stuff that hurts. I think when you look at the playoffs now, it seems like in the past they kind of put the whistle away the farther you went, and I think there's been a standard set by the league that's probably not going to happen. I'm just going off of the conference finals and the Stanley Cup finals. There were so many power plays and penalty kills. So I think special teams is just such a big part of the game now that, you know, you really need to master it, and you got to do your best to stay out of the box. And just going back to the big moments, it just seemed like, looking back at that series, I thought we were the better team 5-on-5, and, you know, talking with Arnie, I think he felt the same. It's just they're an older veteran team that, you know, took care of those big moments. They took care of the PK, or on the PK and the power play. And I think that's, you know, basically what the series came down to. And, you know, I think we have a younger team, and we have a lot we learned from that series, and it's going to make us better.
Haydn Fleury, our guest on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Haydn, 300 plus games now into your NHL career. How, if at all, has your off-season sort of training changed from when you were, you know, earlier in your career to, say, this off-season? What's the focus in terms of your off-season approach and and how you handle this time before training camp begins in a couple months?
I think the biggest thing that's changed would be staying on the ice. I think some guys like taking like a month or something off the ice. As soon as I'm back in the gym, actually this year I was skating before I was back in the gym. So really just don't want to lose that on ice stuff. I think I'm not old, but I'm not young. I think it's just getting to the point now where it's you don't want to lose the on ice. It takes too long to come back. So I think being on the ice right away and getting back in the gym is just something I've really started to, you know, take more pride in. And, you know, I think it's helped. I think, you know, I continually get better every summer, and I think it's starting to show. And I think, you know, last year was a good base for me, and now I just got to continue to build on that.
So Haydn, now that Nick Ehlers is signed in Carolina, are you like the unofficial like tour guide for Nick? Like, you're going to be able to tell him everything that he needs to do when he's in Carolina?
I mean, I actually I work out with Jordan Martinook in the summer here, so I was talking to him. He was asking me about Fly yesterday, so told him Fly's a unbelievable guy, unbelievable teammate, and you're really going to like him. And that's about it. If he needs some golf courses to go play in Carolina, I can help him out.
Pinehurst.
Yeah, Pinehurst. I can set him up good there. So
can you set us up good there?
Yeah,
I could. Yeah, I could get you guys out there. But no, I think obviously gonna miss Fly. I got to know him really well over the last year. A lot of dinners that he paid for. Just a good guy, and gonna miss him a lot.
And just one more for me on Nikolaj Ehlers. I mean, obviously, you know, he's an extremely talented player, and like you mentioned, Haydn, you're an excellent skater as well. Like, and there's a few other guys on the Jets that are pretty good skaters, Kyle Connor and Josh Morrissey. But like, I always like find it interesting when you're talking to NHL players about other NHL players, because, I mean, is he not one of the best skaters that you've ever played with?
Yeah, for sure. I think the top end speed. For me, it was always like the plays that he makes at top end speed. Like when he starts doing that loop in the ozone where he's like, seems like 1 inch inside the blue line, and he's like still got the puck on his stick, and then he turns the corner, he's coming flying down the slot. Like, not many guys can even do that. Like, and it shows, like, he's so light on his feet, he's so fast, and then he has an absolute bomb to go with it. Like, not many guys score with slap shots like him anymore. And that's like a vintage skill that like is like a lost art, and I think it's so cool when he does it. But no, he's a world-class player. You know, I think he's, you know, probably the greatest Dane of all time, and you know, just really you know, happy he got paid, but I'm gonna miss him.
Now, Haydn, I asked you about the Manitoba Miracle, but I'm just curious, any other sort of highlights for you, anything that sticks out that was really kind of a positive, something that you really enjoyed from your year here in Winnipeg?
The home opener was cool. I haven't been able to play in one for a long time, and, you know, coming out in front of the Jets fans was you know, something that I found really special, especially not knowing kind of, you know, the whole situation to start the year. Wasn't really sure like how it was going to go, and I thought being able to play opening night was really special. And then the standing ovation when we clinched the President's Trophy, I think we we were losing to Edmonton. I think it was 3 or 4-1, but it was like with 10 minutes left in the third, and the place just went nuts and made losing the game feel a little bit easier. But no, it was a special year. I think I haven't been a part of a team with the runs that we went on. We had 2 10-game winning streaks. The start of the season was special, and I think it was just a special year all around. I mean, we had a goalie win the Hart and the Vezina. That doesn't happen too often. We had JMO go to 4 Nations, KC and Bucky go to 4 Nations. Shai should have been at 4 Nations. So I think it was a really positive year. I think just the group of guys we have just makes it really enjoyable to come to the rink, and just excited to get back to it.
Haydn Fleury, Winnipeg Jets defenseman. He signed his new contract last week around this time. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Enjoy the rest of the summer. It'll only be a couple months before we're back here in Winnipeg. Looking forward to the next season, and we'll look forward to catching up with you again then.
For sure. See you guys in September.
We'll see you in September, Haydn. Be well. Have a great summer. Thanks so much.
Have a good one. Thank you.
You too. Take care.
Thanks, Haydn.
There he goes, Haydn Fleury, joining us this morning here on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Great.
And that's incredible. And he invited us to golf with him at Pinehurst
That's
and
so nice of him. I can't believe that. I didn't
he
see
didn't say
that
to golf.
coming.
He didn't say he did golf with him. He said he could hook us up there. So I mean, I
I'll
think
take it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't say with him. To be clear,
Haydn is currently texting Scott Brown. Keep those guys away from me.
Amen to that. We will take a break because I don't think we've taken very many of them today. It's the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. We're live on our YouTube channel and all of our social media.